decided to call you my hope. Without you, I am adrift.
As Outlander is about to wrap its story up, we are moving on to a new series within the franchise that will explore the time before Jamie and Claire. This time, we are diving deep into their parents' stories through Blood of My Blood. And as the release date approaches, we have all the spoilers we need for the episode 1 of the show. So let's talk about it. If you didn't know, Blood of My Blood brings together 2 parallel love stories. On one hand, there's Brian Fraser and Ellen Mackenzie. Brian, who is Jamie's father, is a Highlander with little interest in love until Ellen, who is the strong-willed eldest daughter of a rival clan, enters his life. Ellen is caught in the middle of a fierce family feud involving her brothers Colum and Dougal Mackenzie, while trying to cope with the recent death of their father. On the other hand, there's Henry and Julia Morriston, aka Claire's parents, living through the brutal realities of World War I. Henry is on the front lines, sending letters full of hope and longing to Julia, who works in a postal censorship office back home. The show will be out on August 8th on Starz. But even though the show is not out yet, the hype is so big that it already got the confirmation for season 2. I mean, can we blame them? Let's be honest, the cast looks fantastic. The subject matter is fantastic. The dual timeline is fantastic. Like, what else could we want from a show that is taking place in the Outlander universe? Am I right? Plus, the recent interviews with the cast members and the creators of the series reveal that the entire team behind the show is extremely passionate about it, to the point of giving their all to this story. For instance, we know that Jamie Roy, who plays Brian in the show, had a pretty wild ride getting this role. He actually auditioned for several smaller parts in the original Outlander series' 7th season. At one point, he even read for a role that ended up cut from the show entirely, but the producers kept coming back to him because he looked so much like Sam Hookhan. Roy said, "My gut was to stay away from Sam Hookhan's voice and just do my own thing. But the director said that Sam and I had so many similarities in the way that we were as people, that's just a happy coincidence." Here's a surprising fun fact. Roy and Sam Hookhan have met and bonded over their shared roles. Sam has been incredibly supportive of the new lead, texting Roy with encouragement. "He's always one of the first people to text me. 'Dude, it looks so cool. Congrats. Can't wait to see it.' And that means a lot." He also talked about their chemistry read with Harriet Slater, saying it happened in the most awkward of situations during a Scottish bank holiday. But when they met, something just clicked for him. As he said, "When I met her, something shifted. I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing." I mean, to me, this sounds like more than just an on-screen chemistry. In fact, I wouldn't be so surprised to see that they genuinely fell in love on the set. But let me know what you think about the two. Another character who's coming back younger than we've ever seen him is Murtagh Fitzgibbons Fraser, played by Rory Alexander. If you've been following Outlander, you know Murtagh as Jamie's loyal friend. But here, he's still young and a little more hopeful, with that signature twinkle in his eye. Meryl Davis, the executive producer, described him as the fun, in quotes, of seeing how he got that way. It's fascinating because the Murtagh we know later on has a much darker edge. So now we will get the chance to observe his evolution throughout this series, meaning that some really dark and disturbing stuff will happen to him, moving him to the edge. And I don't know about you guys, but my heart already goes out for him. On the other hand, we know that Jeremy Irvine steps into the role of Henry Morriston, who is Claire's father. Henry is a World War I soldier who sends heartfelt letters to Julia. Jeremy is known for his role in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and he brings a quiet strength and warmth to Henry. Julia, played by Hermione Corfield, works in a postal censorship office during the war and secretly replies to Henry's letters. Hermione said that Julia is a fiercely independent woman, shaped by the loss and hardships of wartime London. She said, "She has similarities to Claire, but her own personality and desires and dreams, I came to understand what she was capable of." Hermione also spoke about the chemistry she shares with Jeremy Irvine, which I find really sweet. They've been friends for years, so the intimate scenes between Henry and Julia came naturally. She said, "The intimacy coordinator on our show was amazing, so we had a very safe space, but it was easy and straightforward and comfortable." By the way, this prequel is particularly different because, unlike the original series which follows Diana Gabaldon's novels closely, Blood of My Blood isn't directly adapted from a book. The producer of the series, Meryl Davis, said, With prequels, the challenge is you know exactly where you're ending, but we have a lot of freedom in figuring out how to get there. We're definitely not going to have that debate necessarily of, oh, this was in the book this way, but the show's doing it a different way. But sometimes it's nice to have the blueprint. Meryl also explained the balancing act between telling two parallel stories, saying, "You're not killing your actors as much as we probably killed Katrina and Sam in the first seasons, but it's more difficult because you want to make sure both stories are unique." I feel like we've succeeded in doing that. They're both very, very passionate love stories, but in a completely different way. As for the show itself, as I said, it premieres August 8th, and the original creative team is still very involved, including Meryl, Ronald D. Moore, and Matthew B. Roberts as showrunner. Diana Gabaldon is also involved in writing, though this prequel is not directly based on any of her books. In the teaser that was released a month ago, we saw the couples deeply in love, and honestly, that was pretty much it. In episode 1, it is expected for show to start from the very end, where Claire and Jamie borns, and then go back to the beginning of these love stories to show us how important these births are. It is also expected from the show to tip its toes into the topic of time travel as early as episode 1. But we will see. For more weekly updates, analysis, and discussions on the Outlander universe, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.